I think tonight's been brilliant because it is all about sex. And things being all about sex is not a bad thing. The project is not saying sex is dirty or sex is wrong. We're saying the context that often we talk about sex in, or think about sex in, or have sex in, that's what's wrong. These teenagers are sexual beings. I want them to be great lovers. I want them to have great sex relationships. The great thing about bringing them here for salsa lessons is there's very defined gender roles. There's a very strong kind of boundary set up. It's incredibly modest, but because it's like that, it's hugely sexual. And so I think this tonight is a huge advert for appropriate relationships between men and women, kind of knowing your boundaries. I would never dance with a teenage boy because that'd be highly inappropriate for me to dance. But because I'm doing a dance routine, I can, as an older woman, I can dance him very safely and it'd be fun.
Yeah, just spin.
We're so good, we're so good. What we're looking at is that actually having sex in a relationship is not going to meet all your needs.
Some people in this group that I know are very touchy, and I know when they're feeling a bit down, what they need is they need a hug. So their love language is touch. That when someone touches them, they will feel loved.
Let's say that my two love languages are time and service, okay? Jason spends all the time at the office. But he hasn't been here. He hasn't been here, in fact, all last 2 weeks. And he hasn't done anything that he said he'd do. So for me, it's nice to have a hug, but actually it doesn't. What I wanted was him to be here.
And in good relationships, people will find out what their love language is and give that. Not give their own, because that's what makes them feel better, you know what I mean?
Which is why you can see we're sort of saying if you don't have this in place, you can sort of see, I can kind of see why sexual experiences might leave you feeling empty and crap and lonely and I regretted that and why did I do that? I think one of the biggest battles between probably the adult generation and the youth generation is clothing. And when you think about seeing a young person walking down the street, you automatically assume quite a lot about them from what they're wearing. And I think today it's challenging our young people and saying, why do you wear what you wear? Are you aware of the response you get when you wear certain clothes? And how much of it is your responsibility? So I don't want them to all walk out of here like nuns and monks and vowing never to show any flesh again. But I'd like them to leave here today really having thought about their own responsibility and to be really creative.
Seeing the difference they've made to the teenagers' lives, they've started to consider expanding the Romance Academy.
We don't still know exactly how our young people are going to respond. I mean, it could be that tomorrow they turn around and say, well, actually the buzz has worn off and I'm enjoying it, but it's not really having an impact. So it's kind of, I've got quite a lot of faith in them at the moment, thinking I'm trusting what they're telling me, and I'm kind of doing this on the grounds of what they've been saying. So I have to wait and see what happens. Guys, it is a month from today that Romance Academy will finish for you. Remember, about just over a month ago, we did the last review sheets. We looked at your previous challenges. We talked about whether you'd done them or not. Do you remember the sheets that you fill everything in? You fill in your highlights, your lowlights, and your goal. So what we're going to do is hand out these envelopes to you, open it, have a read, and we're going to go round again, and we're going to look at whether you have achieved your goal or not.
The reaction to the mistakes the teenagers have made is typical of the way Rachel and Dan have run this project. They never judge them. Their love and care is clearly unconditional.
Oh, that's lovely.
Now it's nearly all over. It's with conflicting emotions they're making the graduation certificates.
Because right from the start, we wanted to let them know that they were valued, and it was from that, it was because we valued them and we wanted them to value sex in the context of relationships. It was really important from the start that it was a nurturing relationship, was what this all took place in.
Should we print one off?
Yeah, that looks good. Have you got some shiny paper still?